Have you ever felt that little jolt of panic, that feeling in your gut when you see a new technology and wonder, is that coming from my job? Well, for thousands of professionals, the explosion of generative AI felt exactly like that. But here's the thing. This isn't a story about jobs being lost. It's a story about adaptation. It's about how a whole group of professionals took that panic and turned it into power.
You see, for the editing profession, when tools like ChatGPT arrived, it wasn't just a small change. No, this was a full-blown technological earthquake. Suddenly, everything they knew, their entire professional foundation, felt like it was crumbling beneath their feet.
I mean, this quote from editor Robert Schmidt just nails it, right? Imagine being an expert in your craft, and suddenly, everywhere you look, the headlines are basically saying you're about to become a dinosaur. It didn't feel like just a new tool, it felt like a judgment on their entire career path. And Robert was not alone. Not by a long shot. Across the entire industry, from freelance editors working from home to big corporate teams, there was this collective feeling of being completely overwhelmed. You could almost hear the questions hanging in the air. How do we even compete with this? How do we stay relevant? Are we done for?
And look at the range of these feelings. You've got Tanya Tribula, who was extremely nervous. Then there's Kathy Cambron, who was straight up panicking and just wishing it would all go away. This wasn't just about learning a new piece of software, you know? This was a deep, personal, professional crisis.
But in almost every story where there's a huge challenge, a guide shows up. And for the editing community, a guide did emerge. And she didn't just offer vague hope. She came with a real practical plan for how to get through this new world. So right in the middle of all this anxiety, in August 2023, this program called AI for Editors was launched. The mission was really simple, but man, was it powerful. Take all that raw fear and systematically turn it into a professional toolkit to change a threat into an actual ally.
And here's the crucial part. The person leading this wasn't some tech guru from Silicon Valley. Erin Servais is one of them. She's a veteran editor. We're talking over 20 years of experience, a board member for the Top Editing Society. She's a total insider. And that background, that was absolutely key for building trust with an audience that was, let's be honest, pretty skeptical.
So how do you do it? How do you take someone from panicking to actually being proficient with these tools? Well, the whole approach was to start from square one, build a solid foundation, one skill at a time, starting with the absolute core of how to use AI effectively.
And that whole journey, it starts right here, with mastering one essential skill, effective prompting. Honestly, just think of it as learning the language of your new AI assistant. It's not about being a coder, it's about being a clear communicator. You learn how to give a specific instruction, then you add the context it needs to get the nuance right. And then you learn how to refine the output until it's exactly what you want. This is the bedrock for everything else.
The program laid out this really clear, logical path over 7 weeks. You start with the fundamentals. What even is this stuff? Then you master prompting. From there, you get into the nitty-gritty, applying it to daily tasks like copy editing and research. And this part is so important. It all wrapped up with a deep dive into ethics, making sure these powerful new skills would be used responsibly.
Okay, so being competent is great, right? It gets you in the game. But that's just the starting line. For the folks who really wanted to lead the pack, the journey couldn't stop there. The next phase was all about going from just using the tools to truly mastering them, becoming a real expert in this new landscape.
And you can really see the jump from the introductory to the advanced course. It's like basic prompting skills evolve into these sophisticated techniques where you're building your own custom AI assistants. And instead of just using general research tools, you're learning how to use specialized platforms like NotebookLM to do a deep analysis of an entire book. It's a whole different level.
The whole goal here was to give editors some serious new firepower.
For example, imagine building a custom AI that's perfectly trained on a client's specific style guide, or being able to analyze a 300-page dense report in a fraction of the time. This isn't about replacing the editor. It's about giving the editor superpowers.
So, what happens? What's the end result when you guide hundreds of professionals from a place of fear to a place of real expertise? What does that transformation actually look like? Well, this is the payoff. This is where you see the real, tangible impact on people's careers, their work, and their confidence.
First, let's just talk about the scale here. Since August 2023, more than 600 editors have gone through this training. And this is not just a US thing. They're from over 20 countries, from the big publishing hubs all the way to, yes, even Liechtenstein. It just goes to show how universal this challenge and the solution really is.
And behind that big number are all these incredible individual stories. Take Sue Fulmer. Remember her? She started as a reluctant adopter. Well, after the course, she wasn't just using AI, she was leveraging it so well that her company literally created a brand new position for her. Now, that is not just adapting, that's leading the way.
And Sue's story is part of a bigger picture. These graduates are getting new jobs and promotions, sure. They're getting work done faster, but it's more than that. They're getting time back in their day to focus on the creative, strategic parts of editing that they actually love. And maybe most importantly, that initial panic, it's been replaced with genuine confidence.
You know, the story of the editing profession is really a powerful case study for all of us. They faced this massive disruptive force head-on, they found a guide, and they turned a threat into a huge opportunity. So it leaves us all with a pretty big question to think about for ourselves. Because AI's impact isn't a matter of if anymore, it's a matter of when and how. So the real question is, how will your profession adapt?